Shakers, and welcome to Worth Your Salt, the podcast that shakes up your marketing game in the health and wellness industry. We're your hosts.
I'm Jake Mowery.
And I'm Jennifer Oraqua. Join us as we dive into marketing trends, tools, and resources for fitness, nutrition, and wellness. I want to talk about a topic today that is near and dear to my heart, and that's how to know as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, when it's time to turn to a professional marketer, or if you should continue managing your marketing on your own. Well, this sounds a little self-serving since we offer marketing strategy and implementation at SALT. We're going to provide some real value here to help you find the answer for your specific situation. Can't wait to get started.
So very often, the first thing we hear from a new client is the complaint that their marketing efforts are just eating up too much of their time. So I would say that's the first question you need to ask yourself, really a gut check. If you feel like marketing your business is taking too much time, it probably is.
Yeah, and I would say a gut check is a good way to describe that. Are your marketing efforts taking you away from the things in your business, the things that really only you can do to grow? Then that's definitely a problem. For me, it goes back to the E-Myth, if you've ever read that book. Are you spending too much time working in the business and not enough time working on the business? So the next question I would ask is, are your marketing efforts turning into results?
Yeah, exactly. And are you growing at the rate if you want to? Because if not, it leads us to another question, which is, are you really fired up about marketing your business? That is, do you have a solid understanding of various marketing channels and the strategies that work in each? And are you keeping up with the developments in marketing? By that, I don't mean, are you copying the latest TikTok trend? I mean, are you aware of the recent changes to Google Analytics that can affect your visibility?
Yeah. And health and wellness, I think that most people aren't focused on these things, right? You're focusing on delivering great solutions for your clients, and most practitioners aren't working on building a marketing skill set that helps them execute on a variety of marketing campaigns. It's honestly just not a good use of their time.
Yeah. And of course, what we see a lot of is people in the space who are looking for new clients, want to grow their practice, but end up just throwing money at the marketing problem instead of just really solving it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's why I hear most of the time that marketing doesn't work. If you haven't got a solid strategy behind the dollars you're spending, you're going to end up with an ROI that looks like you've just made donations to Google and Facebook or your local paper to get those leads.
Right. And another question you can ask yourself to see if it's time to hire a professional marketer is, if you've reached a point where you don't know where to spend to get results, are you able to objectively analyze your marketing efforts and make data-driven decisions about your strategy?
Yeah, those metrics that's a tricky thing. And so, if you're setting goals for the number of new prospects you're talking to each month or the number of new clients you're bringing in, and you're struggling to get to those goals, those numbers like independently, then scaling your business might require a more comprehensive marketing strategy.
Yeah, these are great questions, and I want to get to some of the ways marketing efforts can really pay off. But first, we need to take a quick sponsorship break. But when we return, let's really dig into one thing that you can do right now that will make a huge difference in getting results from your marketing.
The Worth Your Salt podcast is grateful to our partners and sponsors, including Get You Wired. If you're thinking about optimizing your website for demand generation, talk with the folks at Get You Wired. Get You Wired is a one-stop shop for best-in-class web design, conversion, and automation. From sales funnels to APIs, keep or active campaign optimization, e-commerce, and custom reporting, Get You Wired is your partner for not only superior website design, but seamlessly integrated marketing. Head on over to getyouwired.com for a free 1-hour strategy session. They live and breathe small business and are excited about your success. Check them out at www.getyou. That's the letter U, wired.com. Getyouwired.com. You won't be disappointed.
We're back here on the Worth Your Salt podcast. And Jake, before the break, we were talking about how to know when it's time to make a shift from DIY to a professional marketer. I think there are a number of things that we see health and wellness companies doing that with a small adjustment, they can make a huge difference, even if you're still on the DIY side of this discussion.
Absolutely. And a lot of what we hear has to do with opportunity costs. What are you as a business owner doing that's occupying your time but not giving you the return? Talking about trying to get regular communications out to your network, whether that's a weekly email or a daily social media post. Sometimes those things can feel like a chore, like you're shouting into a void and no one's listening.
Yeah, we hear that a lot from our clients. And that can be addressed by really understanding who you are as a company and how you tell your story. So when you're inviting your customers into a story, you're more than just another ping in the inbox. You're the one who understands them. So by crafting a really great brand script, everything can flow from there.
Yeah. And for those who might not be familiar, let's dig into what that means to craft your brand script.
Yeah. So Brandscript is a term that comes from StoryBrand, which is both a book and a company by a guy named Donald Miller. And what his frameworks do is provide a foundation for clarity. So by overcoming confusion in the marketplace, we're able to create that authority and trust that every health and wellness practitioner relies on to grow.
Yeah, and of course, when we create a brand script, it opens up a world of opportunity to gain clarity about who your customer is, what problems they're experiencing, clarity around success and failure and what those look like, and of course, clarity about how your solutions fit into the story that you're telling.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point, too, about communicating the solutions. So often with our clients, we see them marketing from a product-centric viewpoint instead of a client-centric approach. And what that looks like in practice is a lot of pride in the research and the development and the knowledge that goes into serving clients, but not a lot of thought going into the client's transformation.
Right. And we've mentioned on Worth Your Salt before, some companies come to us with websites that are filled with a list of products or services, but no thought into what the potential buyer is going through. There's no story to invite them to. There's no direct call to action that makes it easy to get started.
Yeah, and that certainly creates confusion in the marketplace. If your potential customers don't understand what you can do for them, what differentiates you from other similar providers, then you don't have a competitive advantage. So without that story, that deeper sense of meaning to what you do, the why of our work gets muddled. And certainly if you don't understand it, your prospective buyer doesn't either.
Right. And really, there are only three fundamental things that make people take action: make money, improve relationships, and improve health. So if you focus on improving health and define those outcomes and move away from listing out products, you'll set yourself up for growth.
Yeah. All right. We veered a little bit off topic, but the reality is when you DIY your marketing, it's so easy to get lost in the weeds of what you're giving rather than what your client is getting. So until you're able to articulate your brand story and the transformation your client goes through, you can't help them become the hero of their own story.
Exactly. That's why we recommend developing helpful and useful content that overcomes that, curse of confusion. If you confuse, you lose. So if you take the time to develop articles, videos, downloadable material, email messaging, podcasts, all of the above, getting your brand message right can help you communicate clearly and win new clients.
I think that curse of confusion is something that we all suffer from time to time. So, all right, Jake, I think we're ready to offer up some recommendations on how to enlist a professional marketer and get that ROI you're looking for. But before we do, it's time for another quick break. We'll be right back after this. You're listening to the Worth Your Salt podcast, and today we're talking about what to do when you feel like your DIY approach to marketing is holding you back. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to join us over on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram at Salt Marketing Co. and let us know how your growth mindset is shifting.
We're back. And so I think one thing that we find many of our clients struggling with when they make the transition to a professional marketing team is that marketing is a lot like baseball.
Okay, I'm not sure where you're going with this, but I'll bite. Go ahead.
Yeah, so our sports fans out there, stay with me. If you're watching football, it's fairly obvious that there's strategy. There's a plan, and it's executed by the players, and it's all right there for anyone to see. In baseball, it looks like each player is just kind of out there doing the best that they can, when in reality, there's actually a brilliant strategy behind every move, every play. Marketing's a lot like that. From the outside, it looks like you can just do things to find success, but in reality, it's the way those things work together that gets the win.
Okay, smart. I get it. So that's why DIY marketing often seems like a good idea. You throw a little money over here, you put in a little effort over there. I get a new client or two. Hey, it's working. But in reality, those pieces aren't working together to actually fuel your growth.
Right. And if a ball's hit into the outfield and you don't have a great relay and cutoff play in your strategic toolbox, that runner is going to advance or score. That's why strategy is such an important part of marketing, and all those pieces have to work together. We're talking about excellent communication, integrated elements, and exceptional execution.
Yeah, and for sure that's, we talk about competitors and letting them get ahead of you, and you've got to kind of get away from that I have to do it all myself mindset. And that can bring a fresh set of eyes into your growth strategy. So hiring a fractional CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, that can provide the expertise and experience you need. And speaking as a fractional CMO, it's always my goal to leverage my own expertise to develop a more comprehensive and impactful strategy that provides long-term sustainable growth.
Exactly. So many of our clients' chief concern is that they just don't have the time to devote to marketing. By its very nature, it's just a multifaceted, time-consuming endeavor. From the research and planning to implementation, monitoring, and optimization, there just aren't enough hours in the day to try and do it all yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're able to delegate these tasks to a professional, you can free up your time to focus on other aspects of your business that need your attention.
Yeah, for sure. And so what's really interesting too is that when you bring in a fresh perspective, your own perspective might change. You might find your marketing strategy actually driving your product strategy or your communications, your brand strategy. When you're open to new ideas and innovative approaches to marketing, that could really help you find insight into those untapped opportunities and solutions to your growth challenges.
Yeah, not to mention that getting out of that DIY bubble can open you up to a wide variety of networks and resources that a fractional CMO or marketing firm can introduce you to.
Mm-hmm.
Most fractional CMOs are well connected and can make connections to help you form relationships with other industry experts, influencers, media outlets, all of that kind of stuff. By leveraging those connections, you may be able to secure partnerships and gain exposure for your brand. Most advanced marketers are also able to bring tools and resources to the table that you might never have learned about otherwise.
Yeah, and one good point there would be the tools to help measure that success. I always say that good marketing is about iteration. There's never a time when set it and forget it is a good mantra. So, the tools change, the platforms change, your target market actually changes. So effective marketing requires continuous monitoring, analysis, and adjustment. And you want to establish your goals and your key performance indicators, your KPIs, and revisit those regularly.
Yeah, and as you just said, a great fractional CMO can provide valuable insight into marketing performance, helping you identify opportunities to optimize. Those data-driven decisions are key to execution and getting the ROI you're looking for from your marketing efforts, especially because, as they always say, time is even more valuable than money. And if marketing's eating up your time without providing a return, it's probably time to rethink how you're spending that time.
Which brings me to something I feel really passionately about, which is building a scalable business. So as your business grows, the demands on your time as the owner can become increasingly complex. So having a marketing professional at your side can help you effectively scale your marketing efforts to optimize for growth over time. It's always my goal to adapt to current strategies so that we can explore new channels, implement new campaigns, making sure that those are aligned with those KPIs to ensure marketing is driving growth and vice versa.
Yeah, and I mean, the bottom line here is that hiring a marketing professional rather than doing it yourself does involve a financial investment, but the potential ROI is astronomical.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd add to that by leveraging the expertise, perspectives, and connections and the resources that someone like that can bring, you can certainly find ways to make the most of that relationship to enhance your visibility and build your brand and attract new customers that ultimately drive that growth.
Yeah, and of course, we'd love to help you make that happen. Well, that's all we have time for here today. Salt Marketing focuses solely on the health and wellness industry, and we can help you take a critical look at what you're doing and help you find opportunities for growth. And of course, everything we're talking about today is also over on our blog at saltmarketing.co.
Thanks so much for joining us for this week's episode of Worth Your Salt. Don't forget that a new episode of Worth Your Salt drops every Thursday. You can make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing at saltmarketing.co/worthyoursalt. We'd love to hear about your challenges. Drop us a line by emailing us, grow@saltmarketing.co. Finally, leave us a review or give the show a handful of stars wherever you get your content. That's all for this episode of Worth Your Salt. Let's get out there and shake things up.